There.
So if the issue facing us as historians, looking back at colonial America, is how did we get to democracy? If the foundation core of our nation is democracy, how did we get there? How did we arrive at this democratic nature of government that we have in the United States of America? And that democracy in the American colonies, that how-to democracy question, can be seen very, very early on in the early stirrings of democracy. And even shown in the picture is where we first see it. The ships coming over. Much like Carl Degler says, the capitalism came in the first ships. Look at what came in the ships of settlement to the American colonies. Number one, the Virginia Company Charter. What? It contained the democratic concept of the rights of the Englishman. The rights of the Englishman actually were there, embedded into the Virginia Company Charter. It was the contract, the thing governing the people coming over. And the Massachusetts Bay Company Charter had exactly the same thing as well. The rights of the Englishman, certain inalienable rights already embedded into the nature of democracy. The House of Burgesses as an institution also was there. Right away, what do we do in Virginia? We set up a representative body to make decisions for the colonists there in Virginia. We didn't go back to Parliament to find out how to act. We acted on our own with a representative assembly. What else do we see? We see the Mayflower Compact. No, not the compact that one opens to look at oneself and put a little makeup on. This is the agreement. Before you even get off the Mayflower itself and land on Plymouth Rock, the agreement to have majority rule. A majority vote determined how we make decisions. So rights embedded, representative assembly embedded, majority vote embedded into the American colonies from the very start, from the very beginning. Look at the other institutions in American society too. The Congregational Church, by its very nature, being a democratic body. Everybody's equal. One minister, flock of all. It's inherently democratic. Christianity is, Congregational Church certainly throwing off the trappings of Catholicism and the top-down hierarchy of the Catholic Church. The Congregational Church, inherently democratic in its nature. What other early things do we see the Massachusetts Bay Company Charter? Again, rights of Englishmen imported to New World, and the fundamental orders. That Connecticut settlement, that settlement of west of Massachusetts, where we go out after the first and second generation. What do we do when we settle a new colony out there? We write a set of fundamental laws, a constitution. That constitution forms the other basic framework of American democracy. Rights, majority rule, representative assembly, constitution. It's all there from the very start. Why? What is it that makes us democratic? What makes us want to do this? A very practical consideration. As I said before, so-and-so's cow's getting into so-and-so's field. How do we resolve it? Are we going to send a ship back to Parliament for 2 months of waiting? No. Let us decide as settlers here in the New World. Number two, we don't like absolutism. We didn't like it in England. We fought a civil war, remember, in the middle of the 1600s, getting rid of the little god on earth running around there. Thank you, Charles I. We don't like it anywhere else in Europe. We have a heritage of democracy. Yes, Parliament, local county sheriffs being elected in England. We're replicating the English county over here in America. There is that heritage of democracy that we have as English people. We're replicating the existing systems. We like democracy. We're using the systems being brought over here. We don't like absolutism and all of its power. And it's very practical for us to do democracy here in the New World. And frankly, the rich, elite, aristocracy of England, they don't come over here. Who's coming over? The second and third sons who don't inherit all through primogeniture. They're the ones making the trip over. And that is, or those are some of the considerations to say why we, as a group of people settling British North America, turn to democracy for our political system. We've already analyzed how we got to religious freedom. We've already analyzed what was the driving force of the colonial economy. Why did we get to democracy? Now, what does that democracy look like? That democracy looks very interesting in certain different parts of the country. In New England, it was a square. The square was a common. It was green with grass. And dotting it was a town hall where we came together politically, and dotting it on the other side was a congregational church. Around were individual farms of people living their lives who all would come together for Sunday church at the congregational church, or for the Friday night, Saturday meeting at town hall. The town hall meeting. Almost direct democracy in action in New England. That legacy of New England town hall meetings we still see on the political campaigns. Who had a town hall meeting? John Kerry did it in his election. Other guy against Shrubman. We got Obama against John McCain. And we got Glove Romney against Obama in the last election too. We come together for the people of a community to meet in town hall to make decisions. That's one way democracy looked up in New England. What did it look like down in the southern colonies and the Chesapeake Bay colonies? It looked like giant plantations. Totally disparate, set all around the countryside with independence. It's democratic because I'm on my own plantation. I'm an indentured servant with little government touching me at all. It's very, very democratic because there's little government. It's us deciding on our own. That southern colonies was also mixed with, and in the southern colonies, what did you have? You have a county, a large county governed by an elected judge, an elected sheriff, and that county got governed through elections, but big, wide, spread out areas. In the middle colonies, it's democratic because you got so many different people. You have so many different settlers, be it Dutch, and Danish, and French, and English, and Scottish, and you have lots of different settlers, lots of different cosmopolitan influences in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. So it's inherently democratic because there's no one able to say, we're going to be in charge, we're going to rule. And the geography looked like who got to vote, who got to participate, who were the people who got to be involved. White, landowning males. Now, was that a broad franchise? Was that a broad opportunity to vote? Extraordinary. Why was that so broad in comparison to Europe? Why was it so democratic? Why was the franchise, the vote, the ability to participate so wide in America? Because it was pretty darn easy to own land. All you had to go do was what? Settle. You're an indentured servant. You've worked your 5 to 7 years. You got your freedom dues. I got land. Therefore, I turn into a Democrat, citizen, participant in the New England, Chesapeake Bay, Southern, Middle colonies. I'm now part of the system. I'm now an inherently politically powered person. The franchise was there for white, landowning males, which was almost everyone. Okay? So that's the way it looked. Oh, and then every single colony by the 1750s had what? You had a legislative assembly, elected people going to the central location to make the decisions, with a royally appointed governor coming from England. Now, often those colonies paid for the governor's salary, but the royal governor, the elected legislative assembly, that's what we saw in all of the colonies. So we have some distinctions on the local level. We have a colony run as a state in general across the way. Are there any times in which we said, let's consolidate